Oh, thanks for telling me that, Flank. My mic was muted on the YouTube. Sorry for the people on YouTube that didn't have sound there for a second. What I was going into was Rune. We have this return to, yeah, Flank. This we had this return to origin, right? We didn't really get our major break of structure up here. Um, we didn't clear out this external range liquidity. Instead, we almost formed some, I wouldn't call them equal highs, but you do have a lot of liquidity resting above these highs right here. You can get above these highs, you'll definitely see a big reaction, but it's almost um, a better take on the market than if we would have, you could draw the range two ways. So we'll do it both ways. You could say here was your first range, right? And if that's the case, we could be looking at much more of a retracement, which is a possibility. But if you draw the broader range with this swing high that really sent us down into this new range we're in, you would look for an order block or just a demand zone around or at equilibrium. So once you have your level, I think I got it from the 4 hour right here. We had this order block. We came back down into this high time frame demand, and now we've seen our change of character. Or in other words, a lot of people see this choach, and I feel like they associate it with like a lot of complicated forex videos they may have seen. But all it is, it means change of character, but it's just shifting from, um, you know, lower highs to higher highs. That's all it is. It's so simple, right? So for instance, over here, you add, so we'll say, let's go to the 15-minute and make it a little clearer. So here we had, here's your first low, right? Okay, higher low, higher low, higher low, higher low. Oh, but now you have a lower low over there. So that'd be a change of character, right? That's all it is. It's just changing the characteristics, I guess, of price structure. I like the name, change of character, but it's really just a shift in trend. But you can't always play off um, that first shift in trend. You want to have confirmation. So, we make that first higher high, right? And now we have our break of structure. And a lot of the structure we've been seeing with these alts, um, it's kind of odd because it's not really clean. Let me get rid of this. It's not really the cleanest swing highs, but I would consider this a swing high. Sometimes, or some people would maybe consider this your first swing high, and we're really just now getting a change of character. But I don't really look at it that way, because if you looked at it that way, you could say, well, here was your choach right here, and then you're breaking this high, which would have been your break of structure. But nonetheless, we still can wait for price to come down into this demand zone, just like we waited for it to come down into this daily, or as a 4 hour, into this 4 hour demand. And we can wait for more confirmation. There's two ways you could play it. You could set your limits, which I'm not going to do right now. You could set limits here and put, about 20 pips under this. So we'd say around 823, 821 ish, somewhere around there, real tight stops. And you would just target, since you're using an internal target, you would target the external areas of liquidity. And what does that mean exactly? Well, internal, here's your range. On the 15-minute, you're using the 15-minute to get your targets. If we have this range we've established, right? This would be your external liquidity up here above those highs. And if you look, we have they're pretty equal highs. I want to say they are, yeah, a lot of liquidity up there. So, you can go ahead and throw a line on your chart or whatever it is you do to keep up with your levels. I would watch this high up here, and I would go for the highest one here just because we're on a low time frame, and I would look for all that liquidity to be swept. Looks like we might even break it now. Hopefully we don't, and we create even more equal highs. That would be the ideal setup for a long, because you'd be engineering more buy side liquidity. So what could we expect? Well, if you clear this level here, you could expect us to go to the next range of internal range liquidity from the previous range up here, which would have been this order block, or if there's a fair value gap on the higher time frames. There probably is somewhere in here. This keeps confusing me like it's the rectangle. Really all of this right here. So you're just looking at where is more liquidity being engineered. And here, if you look, most of the sell side liquidity is being swept pretty quickly, right? We have these equal lows over here. All of this down here got cleared. I mean, obviously this was what you would call a spring. And if we can get a return down to these levels, you would probably target, so are these equal over here? No, they're not. I would still go for this range high as a final target, but I'd be trimming pretty heavily there. But you can see that's a really good risk to reward off of not, actually, I was going to say not that much, but it's 18%. Rune moves fucking insane though. But these are the kind of trade setups I'm leaning towards more, because especially whenever you're playing these bounces from fair market value in the anticipation that crypto is going to remain bullish, you're playing kind of a little less of a high probability setup. You know, for example, if you buy Rune down here, if you were buying Rune down here, it's a little less risky than buying it up here. It's common sense. Don't overthink it. But in that scenario, there are ways you can protect yourself and make sure your win rate is as high as possible. And by doing low time frame confirmation and waiting for that, you protect yourself not only from trying to buy the dip when it's not the last dip, but also you give yourself time to really dissect price. And it's good practice because a lot of people don't do this. It's fucking way simpler than what you're doing. A lot of people are like, oh, we've got bearish divergence or bullish divergence on the MACD 2 hour and this and that, and we're bouncing off the 200 EMA and the 50 EMA, and like all that shit is just like, I don't know. I mean, everybody trades differently, but it's just much more clear cut, and there's actual logic behind it rather than, hey, I'm gonna play a level that works just because a bunch of other fucking people play the level. No institutions give a fuck about a moving average. So with that being said, Rune is looking super strong. Not surprised at all. You guys know I fucking love Rune. Fundamentals are extremely strong with this one, so you're gonna see recovery very fast with these kind of coins. Another one that's, let's see if IMX. See this now. If you guys followed the signal where I told everybody move your stops to enter, you got wicked out, and it's right around its peak profits again. But if you look, we have here, a lot of people would have said, hold on, whose noise is that? Sorry, I had to serve an issue. Did I just draw a line somewhere? Hold on. No. If you look here, we really didn't have a change of character until, I mean, you can classify this. It gets to that point where you're almost trying to force it. I would say that this is one swing in price, and really here was a high, swing low, and swing high, and we've just now got our change of character, and we're really not haven't established our swing high that's going to be have to be broken for our breakup structure. If I had to guess, we'll probably make a double top or equal highs over here, and then you will see a return back down to this order block, or maybe somewhere in this fair value gap. If I had to guess, you'll sweep all that liquidity up, because if we do want price to continue to the upside, we want to sweep up as much liquidity before doing so as possible in order to have a sustainable bull run, so to speak. Whenever you start to really understand liquidity and can dissect price down all the way to to the lower time frames, you can really get more conviction in the high time frame bias. If we're clearing out liquidity to the downside, we're not leaving anything at all untapped. That means that whales are using everything in their power to sweep up all the possible liquidity in order to regain control of the market so they can expand it to the upside in their direction. We haven't got that yet, right? We're just on the 1 hour. This is the same setup that we use to find the Bitcoin short. I'll show you. So here we had our daily zone, right? Daily supply in the form of an order block. So we came into this zone. So now it would be rational to possibly look for shorts. And how do you look for shorts? You're going to look for a reversal because we're trying to short the top. Now, whenever we play reversal, we don't just enter the trade just because we're at a good level. We wait for that change of character, break of structure, and then you waited a while. I'm sure there are tons of people who thought they missed the top shorts and this and that, but really you were just forming liquidity. Right? This is exactly what I was just saying with IMX. I want to see us double. This is a double bottom, but in that setup, I want to see us double top here. So you got to be patient if you're not already in this trade, or I know that most of you guys probably got stopped out at break even. But moral of the story is price can expand, and you're patiently waiting, doing nothing, and price returns to your level. And if you have enough conviction to do so, and you're confident in your analysis, you're going to be able to give yourself a lot better setups. Now, this was a very nice play because we are at a huge daily level. And we're getting up to the top. You're at about as much of a premium as you can be without breaking into a new range. So this is one thing I was talking about this in crypto chat earlier, but Bitcoin looks awful. This looks like shit. This is weak. I'll show you why on a cleaner chart. I know I've done so much Bitcoin TA. I don't think I even have a cleaner chart. So let's see. Here you have your range with Bitcoin. Really, no matter how you draw it, some people I was talking to are drawing like this, which wouldn't really make much sense to me. I'm looking for a swing high, like a strong high, and to me, this is one swing in price. So this is how I would draw it. Um, you didn't even if you drew it lower, right? We'll say just giving Bitcoin the benefit of the doubt, whatever. You didn't even break any fucking highs, major highs. It was so weak it couldn't even get a break of structure. It was just mitigating. Looks awful. I won't even lie to you guys. Like Bitcoin looks. I'm very, very confident Bitcoin's going to see this liquidity right here get swept. All that's going to get swept, and then we'll revisit where we might be going next. I, this is the most obvious area for me, just because there's so many lows here. It's similar to where was it? This happened. I won't waste time. There was I think it was either Bitcoin or Ethereum that had a similar setup. But if we sweep this, in theory, though, I will say, in order for us to go to all-time highs, like I said before, we want to sweep up as much liquidity as possible. Doing so may mean coming back down and sweeping this, since it was unmitigated, and it would be some Bitcoin shit to just see that kind of manipulation go on. I wouldn't be surprised at all. I think we'll probably get some relief bounce here, maybe even come back up into this zone, give some more entries for shorts if we have that same price structure. We've got this fair value gap here with an order block right above it. We scale on the 4 hour, it's going to be somewhere in there. And these are the same return to origin setups we find on the higher time frames for longs. You got to be versatile and don't get all biased about something just because you like Bitcoin. But there's a lot of liquidity that needs to be swept above us. We're right at this level of equilibrium. Price seemed to reverse pretty nicely. Still no confirmation. We could just be mitigating. Because just like when we're cleaning up liquidity from the downside, and sell side liquidity to go up, whenever we're going to go down, we want to clean up all that buy side liquidity. So we could see Bitcoin likes to do that. I think any of you guys have been here for a while can remember there's been multiple times where Bitcoin will die off. It gets right back close to where it was, and then it just dies off again. We'll see how it plays out. For now, I'm watching for low time confirmation on some of these alts that I've had alerts set for a while. They're all coming back down to this order block at equilibrium. H bar makes me sad, but damn it, H bar is fucking doing good. See, here's another one that we got our confirmation. What was another one? ADA, I think, has not now. Vet might have by now. Yeah, Vet got its confirmation as well. So we'll probably see. Actually, the more this is when I was marked up before. Really, we could. I almost want to wait to see where we end up here because this is still one swing to me, and this is something I see a lot of people getting tripped up on. They don't really pay attention to the price swing, right? You don't just because there's a wick that broke another high doesn't mean that that's a um, I'm trying to think how to put this into words. For instance, like this to this, yes, it's a higher high. Don't get it, I'm sure a smart ass could be like, oh, well, it's a higher high, but that's not the terminology you would use for that. It's just you would look for a higher swing high, a pivot point. So um, I'm waiting on a couple of these setups. I want to make sure that I get a higher probability than just to ape into stuff. But let me hop where I can see the YouTube comments because I think I have some. Just not seeing that one. And what's up, Ernesto? Yeah, if you guys drop them in crypto chat, drop them in the YouTube comments, and I'm not sure if you guys are in stream chat or in crypto chat. Okay, cool. I saw a notification there. I was just curious. What is this? So, one, this is what you guys to do. One looks good. So I'll break this to the 15. This is actually a really nice setup. So you've got this fair value gap right here. And even if it's a smaller one, it's still a fair value gap. You've got liquidity. It seems like price in this candle, it pushed back down trying to sweep up this liquidity, but it did not get all the sell side liquidity and also left this order block. So, and you can see we're seeing bullish price action and structure, right? So we have this change of character return down to origin of this range. And yes, this was a range. Gets like that. So let's just go like a 5-minute to make it clear. So here was your trading range. Order block at equilibrium over here. Right, you've mitigated there. So now we can establish we're shifting to a bullish price structure. Same thing, right? It's like that's what whenever I say price is fractal, it applies to all time frames. It's interesting how you can see these lower time frame ranges look like a blip on the high time frames, but it's all the same. You're just looking for what kind of liquidity is being engineered and what liquidity has been swept. Here we have on the 15-minute, we've got this order block right here coming into the supply. Hopefully we'll see a return down. I actually like this a lot. Because if we could play this, it would be pretty heavy in discount. You could use a stop just under this low because if you dig deeper, you're probably going pretty far. You shouldn't need to tap into any liquidity within this area. So what is this level? 11,803. Oh, I got it right on. Pretty tight stop there. Actually, you could probably go a little. 58. And then you'd be targeting, since you're using an internal area of liquidity, you'd be targeting external targets. Here would be this, and then another take profit would be here if we don't get up into this. That'd be a nice trade setup. I'm gonna play this one. Shout out to Mason for telling me to peep one. One second to post this up. All right. Okay. Oh, what the fuck? That's you, Terp. I didn't know that was who that was. That's dope. Cool. It's always nice to put a, I guess, not really another social media face to a name. Honestly, right here, looking at this, we might see this push into this higher time frame order block right here. We have that right above. Oftentimes, you'll see it. I'd like for us to not clear this high again, form those equal highs, and engineer that buy side liquidity. That would be ideal, because once you start to see the market makers form double tops, is what people call them, and they say they're bearish. That's another retail fucking bullshit myth. I mean, yeah, if you just short as soon as the quote double tops, but then you're just guessing that we're gonna go down from that level. It's just not the greatest strategy, but double tops really are bullish in the long term because you're engineering liquidity above them. So price is going to return to that level. But that's what we want to have here. It looks like we're digging up into this order block. We'll see how I'm going to come back to this later. I'll add this to my list. Another thing I've been doing is I'm really utilizing different watch lists, because fuck, I know mine. I have like a spot watch list that has 200 something coins, and it's just kind of like, I mean, fuck, man. Like, you don't need all that. It's just clutter. Fair value gap up here. Oh shit, wrong template. I don't know why I put this in the left. Just do center. That indicator, I want to try Frizz's. I didn't know Frizz had one. I felt like a dick for calling one out that wasn't his, but I didn't know there was a PlayBit fair value gap indicator. It's pretty solid. This one's pretty cool too. I don't know. I mean, his is probably similar, but it's useful like whenever you're really like just taking a look at stuff, because it can tell you like where is see, like, it plotted the same one I had, but it'll tell you like where is there untapped liquidity, like, relative to where you're at now. Is there more untapped liquidity below you or above you? God, why is this look so nasty? Damn, 1 is actually cheap right now, and there's tons of liquidity above, and there's also obviously much more than um, fair value gaps that you need to look for, but this can kind of give you an eye for stuff and help you out. I actually like this setup a lot. The thing with playing some of these, we're reacting nicely to that supply. But the thing that I like about these setups is while sometimes they give you a really tight stop loss and sure they might get stopped out quicker than other trades, all it takes, you could take 3 to 4 of these that don't hit. And if you hit one, you made up for all of it and more. It comes with the concept like people always, and it makes sense, like why people think this, but people think you have to win more trades than you lose. Now, I hope that you are winning more trades than you lose. But I can see that there are a lot of day trading strategies people use where they'll lose close to as many trades as they win, but they're extremely profitable. It's because they take really, really high R trades. They're taking nothing less than 10, 15, 20 R trades. So they can lose 10, 15, 20 trades and hit one theoretically while no one's really doing that and holding all the way till the final TP. But in theory, you could lose that many trades and still and just win one to make it back. That shouldn't be a cushion that you tell yourself because you're losing trades, but you always want to take that into perspective whenever you're playing some of these different concepts because you can get stopped out a couple times and revisit. It's just it's trial and error too, making sure you're plotting things correctly. But the key to finding the best setups, because in crypto, as a lot of you guys know, tons of shit is gonna look exactly the fucking same. You're gonna have a lot of setups that are very similar, but when you look closely, they're actually all really different. For instance, like some of those other trades or other coins we looked at, they didn't have a fair value gap right here. They weren't uh, mitigating all liquidity down below. You know, um, they might have had equal lows. They might have had other undesirable aspects to the trade that a lot of people would look over, especially when you're new to using order box and these kinds of strategies. You just get dialed in on finding that internal liquidity, but you got to understand what you're doing. As I always tell people, like it's with anything. If you just do something because you're told to do it and hey, if I do this, there's a chance it'll work, you're never going to get to your maximum potential that you would if you understood the under the hood view of what you're doing. Like, why does this work? Why is price being delivered where it's at? So I can't stress enough how important it is to understand all that. So from one, leave this here. And see, come back to that later. Dot was another setup, similar. See, this one isn't as clean to me. We just had this choach, and we're still kind of waiting. There's a lot of liquidity under here as well. You could look at it from this. If you look at it from the 15-minute, you could maybe say, oh well, we already had our choach here. And then this was really our break of structure. And that would be valid on this 15-minute. All honesty, makes more sense too. And then if that's the case, you would look for, here we go, we got liquidity, these fair value gaps. I would just say all of this is one fair value gap, in my opinion. Down in here, I mean, you could draw it differently if you wanted. You could draw it even just there. I mean, either way, it's a huge fair value gap. You got this order box sitting right at a higher low. Super good risk to reward with this. Right, sitting right at equilibrium of this trading range you had down there. So it checks out. This would also be a pretty good setup. What I'll do with this one, and you guys should do this too. I'm not going to play this one personally, but I'll plot it out and I'll come back and see how it went. Right. And that's how you learn. So I'll just leave this here exactly how I would take it had I, 17,511. Wait, what was this low actually? 17,360. 60. You guys know what I meant. Good 20 pip stop loss. Targets, you'd really have to wait. I mean, your first target would be the external range liquidity, which is pretty far up. I wouldn't even try to swing it all the way up there, but that would be your final target. So you can get some really good setups, and even for more confirmation, you could wait till price comes back down into this and wait for this same structure, the choach and the break of structure on a 1 to 5 minute. Right, because price is always fractal. It does the same things. If you can look at it and derive what price is trying to tell you, I'm not going to say everything looks the same, but you'll get the same message if you know how to read it from a 1 minute or a 5 minute as you will a 1 day. But you have to use that on that time frame. Like if you find a level in the 1 minute, unless you're like in this situation, you'd be waiting for confirmation for a trade that you found on a higher time frame. Then it'd be different. But if you found the entire trade on the 1 minute, you have to find your take profits in the 1 minute. And that's another concept I try to tell people is it's not about percent gains. It's about risk to reward. For instance, just find a 1 minute trade setup. I don't know actually how much it respects the 1 minute. We'll see. So down here, your change of character. I never came back. I thought this was before. I'm trying to find a good example for you guys. Yeah, here you go. So you add a change of character, and then right here, your break of structure, and then you would have this order block down here. I guess you would use the stop below it. I mean, you would never probably take this kind of trade, but theoretically, I mean, you could if you were really on it. I mean, you had about 3 or 4 minutes to plot this out, but your stop loss would have been just under this low. And where would your take profit have been? Well, it would have been right at this external range liquidity right here. If I can get it right. Actually, I would have probably held it for higher, but it wouldn't have hit all the way. But even, let's draw it down to here where it did. Just say you would have hit a 4.5 to 1 risk to reward. So if you size your positions the way that you're supposed to, the way that I've taught you guys, this trade, so it has a 0.25% stop loss. Theoretically, if you had 10x leverage, that would be a 2.5% loss on 10x leverage. So not much at all, right? You'd actually be able to put a huge sum of your portfolio on this trade if you're obeying the stop loss. For instance, on if you're risking 1% of your portfolio, to actually lose a full 1% of your portfolio on this, I'm trying to do the math in my head. So on a 10x with a 1% stop loss, gives you a 10% loss. And if you're risking 1% of your portfolio, that means if you're losing 1%, right, 10% of the position, and you're risking 1% of your portfolio, Okay, well 1% is 10% of 10%. That makes sense. I know that was kind of a lot of numbers, but basically you would be putting on this trade, you could put around 40% of your funds. I know this sounds crazy, but if you had a stop loss of 0.25% on 10x leverage, right? Yeah, sure, it's only a 1% gain, but you're able to go so heavy because of the risk to reward that you make the same amount of money as you would make having a trade like this. But most of you would much rather take this. Why? Because it is perceived as a bigger gain because a bigger move in price and a higher percent gain. But that's literally means nothing, right? That means absolutely nothing if you are sizing your positions correctly, because it's all about this number here. A 4R trade is a 4R trade. It doesn't matter if it's 100% or 10% gain. It's the same amount of profit if you size your positions the way you're supposed to. What's up? I'm gonna look up. I got you, Broham. Adam. Do any perps for Adam? God damn. So 24, 27. Holy shit, this shit just started flying. Oh, I'm in the 1 minute. Fuck. I just got really happy because I have like way too much Adam equity. That's fucking funny. Fuck. 24, 27. Yep, right here. That is exactly what I thought it was going to be at. Honestly, to all you guys too that on TradingView, Control Z to undo. Maybe some of you guys are laughing at me for just now thinking of that, but I use I don't know why I never thought of it. You know, like PowerPoint, everything else, Control Z, but it makes TradingView so much faster because you can literally cycle around to where you were just viewing everything. But here we'd have, so we're on the 15-minute. Look at it like that. It's kind of, that was almost like a failed. I don't know actually. So you could look at it like, there's your choach, but it's kind of forcing it. And then it's like, which one was your swing high? I mean, I guess you'd say this one. I mean, if you're going to go in the lower time frames, though, I guarantee if you went to like 5-minute, and then you would say, I would personally say here's your change of character in the 5-minute. And you could play that bounce for sure, but it would kind of be like personally, I would rather wait for whatever sponsors the break of this level. So say if we just flew there from right here, I'd probably be looking at an order block somewhere at a higher low along the way. But the order block is super valid. I mean, you'll see a bounce from this level no matter what, just because this fair value gap is going to get filled up. And then also you've got an order block right here, and you're following bullish structure, right? You're using these order blocks like a stairway to heaven, right? Over and over again, you're seeing mitigation, how you want it to, you know, demand, acting as demand. It's not just getting violated, which is good. You've got some equal highs over here. All this right here, that's going to get swept. You've also got this fair value gap right here. Luna, I got you, bro. Fuck. So got a lot of liquidity above and this order block here. So once you get close to this, it's going to be like a vacuum. It's going to suck you up into this fair value gap somewhere. It looks strong as fuck right here, though. Fucking Luna. I'm glad you asked me this because we came back down. I wanted to revisit after we slash through this trend line liquidity, which we did nicely, formed an order block right on, which I think we're probably going to go mitigate. But to be honest with you, I might fucking regret this, just like the last time that I did this with Luna. But I want Luna cheaper, personally. Because the way I look at this, we just had a change of character on the daily to the downside, which I get it. A lot of stuff does or has had that. So we had that change of character. But if we can break this low, I don't see a problem doing. I just want Luna cheap. I really do, because I want to build a bag up in it, and I don't want to buy Luna. Like I'm sorry, it's hard for me to buy that. It just is. So here we've violated this trend line liquidity. I'm gonna go ahead and just delete that. Filled that order block, or not filled, but created that order block. So we have a reason to come up and fill this entire fair value gap here. That's what we're doing right now. And once price returns here, if we start to see bearish price structure, send it back down here, break that. I'll actually look for shorts up there. I know it sounds crazy trying to short Luna, but I really want to get us down to this zone over here. And if you look back here at equilibrium, we had, I think it was in the 15 or the 5. We had a nice change of character, and this can be this same setup can be used in a continuation. Let's go ahead and let me just get rid of this right now. So we had this change of character, right? Within it was a continuation, but if you also look, it's sitting right at fair market value. It is where we really began expansion, and then you've got this order block right here, and then also one down here. I didn't mark it up yet, but once price comes down into this area, I'm going to be a huge buyer of Luna. But until then, I'm just sticking to my policies, and that may leave me cucked, but whatever. I stick to the policies, right? You'll miss out on money by doing that, but you'll also miss out on losing money, and I am totally fine with that. So, that's kind of what I got for Luna. And it looks textbook to me. I mean, I don't see a problem with this return down here. I will say there's not a ton of like crazy obvious liquidity. Like there's not equal lows. I wish there was, but we'll see. Kind of cleared these out here. Luna is just so strong. I wouldn't even be surprised if it just started flying from here. But I'm gonna wait on it. I come back and watch this in 2 weeks and cry. See if there are any other coins. Yeah, those longs you have right there, I could see it for sure. I think that's actually going back up to, what is that level you have? $99. It's going close. I would probably be cutting into that long before that. Personally, I would be digging out of it maybe even lower once I get this 4 hour, just to not be greedy, because you're playing a reversal. And also, I mean, you could look at it like we're returning to origin of this range, I guess, if you consider this a range. And even then, it's not clean. I don't. Once you have this, I mean, this is expansion, so it's not really a range. Like this is a range, and we've already violated that range. So I'm just going by what the chart tells me. Fundamentals would say the opposite, just because all the stuff Luna has going on. It looks strong though. It really does. It looks like it's going to continue, but we'll see. Before I hop off here, I'm going to look at. I'm almost done with this list for you guys. I'm just putting together like an alt watch list and kind of organizing it. There's actually a coin I want to look at, Platypus Finance. I know it's a funny name, but it's on AVAX, and it's been. I don't know if we can get it on osmosis. I haven't looked. And I also, if I can get, if this price comes under these lows, I'm a big buyer of platypus finance. I'm not sure how much some of this smart money concepts work on this chart because it's pretty illiquid. I mean, as you can see, it's like looks like shit. Like not like a bearish like shit. Like it just visibly looks like shit. Not much you can do with this. But I will say there is a lot of. This looks like someone like fucking carved this shit out. Like somebody cut out half the chart. I want to do some more research on where you can buy, but they have quite a bit of TVL. I've seen a lot of people talking about them. They almost got $1 billion locked, and you don't. I mean, that's more money locked than a lot. Like, let's go take a look at just actual blockchains. Like, for instance, it has more money locked on it than tons like EGLD. It has more money locked on it than Harmony One, right? So it's not like just some kind of. Just gonna alert. Oh, got our break of structure in Cardano. Let's see. There's the highest volume. Probably just play that whole zone. I'm just gonna draw. I'm not gonna set any limits here. I am gonna set an alert. 9414 on perps. Watch for low time frame charge. Cardano looks pretty good too. And this is what I mean. If you've noticed, everything we're fucking looking at has a very, very similar setup. So when it's like that, you don't want to get into everything, but you can start to assume the market might do what it looks like it's going to do. But we're starting to get confirmation. Really, with Bitcoin and Ethereum is what you're going to want to worry about. Mainly Bitcoin. Haven't really got that confirmation yet here, so don't get caught with your pants down and get a bunch of longs. I would like to see Bitcoin um, have some healthy price action, maybe retrace from here, maybe make a little bit higher highs, come back down, and then get that break of structure. And then there is where you're going to want to watch for the order block, whatever sponsor that break of structure, and that'll give you a better setup than just trying to long everything. But once we get that with Bitcoin, I'll be a lot more open to building equity at these levels. We're already in a good amount of stuff from the bottom, so I'm not really too pressed on it. But I would like to pick up some of these coins that I have been eyeing. Yeah, Platypus Finance. I want to look into see if we can get that on Trader Joe or Osmosis, because Osmosis has a lot of AVAX, a lot of other chains coins. Because Osmosis, the reason I signal that to you guys is it's the first DEX that's running off of IBC, or the Internet of Blockchains, which is Atom's. I guess I'm trying to think of how to explain it. Think of it like every blockchain speaks a different language, and Atom is the interpreter and allows all of them to work together. And Osmosis is doing that, is the first DEX that is operating on that. So it's really easy to bridge assets and interact with different chains. But I like Platypus Finance as alternative to Joe. I think Playboy got you guys in Joe quite a bit ago, but I like Platypus where we're at. It's, I think, a cheaper alternative. Another coin I wanted to look at in this dip was CVX, and I don't know how I've never heard of this. It's brand new. It has, let's see, it's like an insane amount of Ethereum. Yeah, the third largest. It has 12 billion staked or locked, not staked. And I mean, that's fucking insane. It's the third largest protocol by TVL on Ethereum, and I've never even heard of it until recently. Um, I like it's just been flying, but um, a lot of these coins are what I'm gonna be looking to build some equity in, and a lot of them are newer coins. But um, with crypto becoming more and more, it's being adopted by more institutions. More of the wealthy are getting involved. And what do those people really give a fuck about? Returns. And what is giving returns? DeFi. So you're going to want to look at DeFi on a lot of these different chains that you may believe in. And you can just do some simple homework and does this asset have a protocol where stuff can be locked? If you're looking at Phantom or Layer Ones, okay, well, what protocols have the most value locked? Okay, well, let's look into those, and then you can kind of determine which projects that resonate with you and what you want to buy into. Um, I think a lot of projects are going to completely die off. A lot of the projects that we have traded throughout the 2020 bull run, a lot of them are totally useless. And also, there's new needs are arising within the ecosystem. Like liquid staking is going to be huge. Layer two scaling systems are going to be huge. It's going to kind of utilize your resources, do research, and come up with what you think is going to be in demand. But on that note, I'm gonna end it. I appreciate you guys coming through. If you have any questions, always just at me, DM me, whatever. I got you. But until Friday, I'll see you guys.